All right, y'all. Hello, hello. Thank you guys so much for joining us for Axia's How to Avoid 10 Social Media Blunders webinar. During the session, we'll talk you through observances we've made from online companies. The 10 blunders I review today are things to avoid doing on your social media. We'll offer up recommendations for each blunder to make sure that you avoid making these mistakes. We'll talk about exactly what a consumer wants from your social media, how you can meet their needs as a company on social media, and how to make your profile shine and be free of any blunders. If you're watching this webinar because you think your company might be struggling, please reach out to me after this webinar. I don't bite and it's my passion. My name's Hannah Farron. I work for Axia PR as a social media strategist. So everyone wants to skip the sale, but skip straight to the sale, but it's really important to review the buying process and how social media can influence and move the process along quicker. First and foremost, your targeted audience needs to know about you. And in 2019, to be a known company, you pretty much just need to have a presence on social media. Being an active user and having a voice on the internet will attract potential customers. If you're putting the right content together, those potential buyers will start to understand you, what you're selling, and why they should buy it. Next, you need to build trust with them. This can be done by showing customer testimonials, reviews, videos of your product, pictures of your trustworthy team, and many other ways. Finally, once the potential buyer knows about you, understands you, and trusts you, then they'll consider buying. Knowing your audience's buying journey is important in knowing how to market or sell to them on social media. Use these steps as a guideline for what content you post to social. Constantly be trying to answer why your product or why choose your company through messaging on social media. While I have a couple minutes set aside during the webinar for questions, I just wanted to mention that if you have any of them during this session, please write them in the chat box and I'd be more than happy to answer. Also, you don't have to worry about taking notes or anything because we'll send you this entire session after the webinar. Housekeeping check, let's go ahead and get started. Blunder number 1, absence of information on your social media pages. I'm sure everyone knows this by now, but it's still a great reminder. Always, always, always ensure that each part of your social media profile is filled in with accurate information. This is how your buyers find information about your company. They start by using a search engine, then they might stumble upon your Facebook or your LinkedIn, and then they begin crawling each section for information to better understand you. It can be super frustrating when you're looking for an answer to a question you have and you can't seem to find it anywhere. Like this company biography, an about section says it's coming soon, and all we really know about them is that they're a coffee shop or a bakery. I likely wouldn't pay this company a visit. Don't know about you guys. Remember, all eyes are on you. We recommend that you offer up as much information about your product, services, or company as possible. Your buyers truly rely on what information you input to your social media profiles as reasoning to spend money on your product. Always be looking for ways to impress them and over-inform them on social media. It really starts with providing them with the simple information they need to know about your company. We also recommend setting a calendar reminder to check your company's social media profiles for accuracy and completeness, as social media platforms often add new fields that might need to be completed. On to blunder number 2, absence of media. Again, your social media profiles should have every single field filled out. This also means having a profile picture, a banner, and any way to really further your page and make it your own with personal branding. I think this one's also a no-brainer, but just try to think of social media as a dating app. No one, and I mean no one, is gonna go on a date with the creepy guy or girl with no profile picture. Personally, as a consumer, if I'm looking into a company for a product or service, I look at their website and their social to decide whether they're an established company and whether I trust them for that product or service. Simply put, a blank profile picture would definitely steer me to another company. If you're an established company, we recommend using your most recent logo as your profile picture. Blunder number 3, not responding to comments. Being responsive is a huge part of managing a social media account. Typically, consumers are asking you questions, praising your products, or in an unfortunate case scenario, they might be bashing your products. No matter what the communication is, whether it be a Facebook message, an Instagram reply to your story, or a tweet, you must say something. Recently, I paid respect to Uber on Twitter for creating this awesome feature where you can schedule rides, which I thought was just so genius. And I thought about it and I was like, I think that Starbucks should be doing this, but for coffee. People get coffee every single day at the same time, whether it be on their way to get kids, on their way to work, whatever. Long story short, no one responded to me, and I'm still a little irritated about it, especially when you consider the size of the teams these huge corporations have to solely respond to online comments and complaints. I would have been so happy if Starbucks, my favorite coffee shop to work remotely from, would have responded and let me know how great of an idea that was, or even better, that it's in the works. Either way, it definitely brings me to a statistic that I very clearly fall into, which is 78% of those who complain to a brand via Twitter expect a response within an hour. Like I said, regardless of what comments say, responding is a necessity. Someone took the time to write a comment and start a conversation with you, so it's truly just social media etiquette to respond accordingly. Not only will consistent responses shed some light on your company's personality and branding, but it'll allow for genuine interaction with real people that consider spending money at your company. Interactions are important because they help build understanding and trust with your buyers, which is something every company should be striving to achieve. For example, if your company posts a picture promoting a service and a buyer comments something like, "We highly recommend this service," this is a comment that you should react to by liking it as your company. Just a little note here, please ensure that you're always on your company profile when reacting to comments or responding to comments, because it's very important to know the difference whether you're on your personal profile or your company profile. For a comment like this, we'd recommend responding with something like, "We greatly appreciate that, Mike," or "Thanks for the kudos, Mike." Depending on what personality you want your company to embody on social media, you're always welcome to add humor or sass or even sarcasm. Although we don't usually recommend sarcasm just because it can be a little hard to depict over text. We typically default to keeping it really professional, but we do throw in hints of swagger and humor. Do we have any questions so far?
Yeah, I went ahead and unmuted myself. I hope that's okay. But I was just curious. I feel like it's so frustrating to get verified as a company on social media. So I was wondering, one, how I can get my company verified on social media, and two, if you had any tips for.
Yes. Okay, that's a great question. First, I want to thank you for joining us and participating. But yes, getting verified on Facebook, it's usually super easy and it can be done in just a couple of steps. So first, you'll click the settings at the top of your Facebook page, your company's Facebook page, and then you'll go to general, and then there's a little section called page verification. You'll click verify this page, then click get started. And then all you have to do is enter a publicly listed phone number. So like whatever phone number your company uses and pops up on any search engines, that's what you'll want to input. Then you'll click call me now. Facebook will actually call you with a verification code, and then you'll just input that code. It like happens within a window of time though, so you have to make sure that you're either by your company phone or do it at a time that you can answer the company phone, just because that verification code will expire. Sometimes in weird case scenarios, the phone number that you have on file or on Google doesn't work, and then you'll have to send in something like tax return files or something similar to that effect that would prove that you're a verified company. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for the great question. All right, let's go to blunder number 4. Ignoring social platforms' unique features. Each social media platform tries to differentiate themselves by having unique features. Utilizing these keeps your feed and content interesting. Facebook offers live videos. As you can see, this guy right here looks like he's like hiking or snow and doing something with snow. Looks like he's having a lot of fun. All of his friends are loving his live video and liking it and laughing. Maybe he's saying something funny. They also offer these photo carousels, which are awesome for companies because you can really customize them and really create like a visual experience for your audience, which is great. And then lastly, they offer polls where you can ask your viewers what they're doing today, or just find a better way to interact with them, or ask them what they want from you as a company. LinkedIn allows companies to publish articles as content to educate their followers, which is pretty cool. We recommend posting your blogs in here. That's a good way to utilize this feature on LinkedIn. Instagram offers stories, IGTV, which is Instagram television, and then they also have Shop Now features, and they give users a lot of options to personalize their stories. Like you can add songs, which is powered by Spotify, and it's just really cool that you can really make stories your own. We definitely recommend to make your stories as creative as possible. Use this as a way to express yourself as a company and just kind of be unique and different. And they can never be boring. There's so many different ways to customize them. Twitter allows users to share tweets with retweets, which is really cool. And then so you can, it's kind of like the share feature on Facebook. That's how you share things that you agree with or like maybe. And you can retweet them with your own comment as well. So once you retweet it, you would have this message as well as whatever message you want to add. Just like there's things that you can specifically do on certain platforms and should be doing, there are things that you can't do on certain platforms. For example, you should never, ever, ever, ever put links in your Instagram captions. Users just can't click on them. So it's not only frustrating for the users, but it also makes you look like you don't know how to use that platform properly, which we don't want. So here's an example of a great company giveaway that could have been awesome. However, they were prompting users to use the links in the caption. #fail. We recommend writing something like find the link in our company profile or something like that, and then pasting the link there instead, because when you paste it in the company profile bio, it'll actually bring the users to that link when they click it from here, but it won't give users that option when it's in the comments. When using LinkedIn, we recommend avoiding posting links in your captions as well, because LinkedIn's algorithm tracks which captions are urging users to leave LinkedIn and will naturally hide these posts from users because they want people to stay on LinkedIn. It makes total sense. But really, to get your best engagement on LinkedIn, you want to make sure you don't urge users to leave LinkedIn. So a loophole around this is to comment the link you want users to follow right after posting it. So if you schedule it or whatever, make sure you have an alarm set to comment underneath your post and write something like register here. And that's what we did for this post to gain more webinar registrants. Blunder number 5, posting without a call to action. Always include a call to action, whether it be something like call us, visit this link, sign up for our newsletter, etc. There should always be an action for the user to take after digesting your content. The call to action should coincide with your company goals. If you want more blog subscribers, we recommend asking for more people to subscribe to your blog with a link to do so. Keep it simple. Marketing is actually really easy to do if you just think about how you can simplify the buying process for your targeted audience. Another recommendation is to create a sense of urgency, whether it be for an event, a sale, or something like that. Like in this post, we use caps letters in both the graphic and the caption to command attention, and we used the 24 hours away verbiage to create urgency in order to gain more registrants. Blunder number 6, always include a picture or video with your message. We live in a world where people consume with their eyes. For example, HubSpot tells us that tweets with images receive 150% more retweets than tweets without images. And then Facebook posts with images see 2.3 times more engagement than those without. While messaging is super important, what truly grabs a consumer's attention is the photo, video, link image, or other media that creates interest and adds value to your words. We recommend always having some sort of media to go along with a message to see the best engagement and results in your campaign. Here's an example of a Facebook post that should include an image to accompany the text and accomplish this company's goal. They're looking to make their audience aware of their new menus, but to make this visually appealing and informative, they should have added a picture of the new menu. They could have even done a side-by-side comparison of the old and new menu to show how drastic of a change this was for them. While it did get some engagement, they would have seen much more if it was included. Do we have any questions, y'all? I actually got a question before we started that I'll go ahead and answer. I got asked, how does Facebook gauge responsiveness times for company profiles? This is a great question and definitely something I should touch on. So response rate is the number of private messages your company responds to within the day. So for example, if you got 20 messages on Facebook today and you responded to 19 of them from your company profile, Facebook will give you a response rating of 95%. Your response time is the average time it takes you to respond to a direct message you receive. They measure it in minutes and then they'll average it over the course of a week. I hope that answers that question. Blunder number 7. Posts must be planned, proofread, peer-reviewed, and scheduled. This can be a daunting task and arguably the hardest thing to perfect, especially if you're doing social media alone for your company. We recommend having an editorial calendar to document that you continuously review, add to, and follow that'll guide your marketing efforts. This can include important holidays, out of office dates, any important anniversaries, or just any other significant dates that you think are relevant to share with your viewers on social media. If you haven't heard of HubSpot, it's basically a killer software used by social media and marketing pros. We highly recommend you try a free demo. It's well worth it. We use it every single day for our social media, but it also helps streamline other marketing efforts as well. In the case that you don't want to try HubSpot, there are other free options that we've used in the past, like later.com and Buffer. Blunder number 8, forgetting your targeted audience before posting. You want to be asking yourself these 3 important questions while creating content. 1, is this helpful for my audience? 2, does this make sense to my audience? And 3, does this make my audience's day better? I'm going to say those 3 questions one more time because that's how important they are. Is this helpful for my audience? Does this make sense to my audience? Does this make my audience's day better? These are the most important questions to ask when coming up with unique content for your platforms. Like I said before, you should constantly be looking for ways to build trust, so keeping these questions top of mind is vital in posting relevant and interesting content. This is where peer reviews really come into play because it's so often where we might think we created something awesome, but it might have an error or it might just need some adjusting. We always recommend having a colleague or a coworker check out your content prior to posting it to ensure that it makes sense and that it's grammatically correct. Another set of eyes can never, ever hurt. We personally follow AP style when it comes to posting. Others do as well, but it's not a necessity. I mean, it's not like it's a college paper, but if you want to show your professionalism online, we recommend doing so. Another recommendation we have is downloading the Grammarly plugin to your web browser. It's so awesome because it checks all of your grammar for you without you even touching anything. We use it to perfect all of our communications, not just social media, so it's good to make sure your emails are in check as well. Blunder number 9, reviewing your engagement, followers, and other metrics is really what drives success for your social media campaigns. Just like each platform has unique features, each platform displays metrics a little bit different and offers different benchmarks to measure your success. Here are a few different examples of metrics pulled from our social media accounts. So the top left is from Facebook. They offer graphics that show increases and decreases in follower count, while you can also check into post clicks, impressions, likes, and shares. LinkedIn offers analytics, which is the bottom left, that include line graphics that measure your impressions, but you can also view metrics like clicks, comments, shares, and engagement rate. Instagram's probably my favorite as far as insights go, just because what really sets them apart is that they break down your follower demographics so you can get a really clear idea of who follows you and interacts with your content. We recommend reviewing these numbers monthly. This will just pretty much help monitor what aspects of your social media efforts are working and really should motivate you to revise what's not working. Blunder number 10, not using experts. Axia's team of qualified and dedicated social media strategists like myself closely follows this proven shared media process for quality assurance and to avoid making the blunders list. I'll just go through our process really quick. I'm sure you have taken a look at this maybe on our website before, but so we take our inputs and we go through objectives, we do research, we have our activities, which we have concepts that we plan, messaging that we create, we draft our content, we make sure our content gets copy edited, we make our content visual, we schedule our content, publish our content, engage with any comments on our content, monitor it, promote it, and then we always make sure that we measure and report. We do this for ourselves as well as our clients. Are there any final questions before we wrap up?
Yeah, I have one more question about Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, yes.
I was wondering why they're so similar and if my company needs to be on both platforms.
That's a great question. Okay, so the reason that they're so eerily similar is because Facebook bought out Instagram back in 2012. And it seems that like as the years go by, Facebook just gets more similar to Instagram and vice versa. Like they just kind of create the same features that Facebook had and Instagram had and add them to the opposite, if that makes sense. So like how Facebook had Facebook Live first, now Instagram has Facebook Live. So I just feel like as the years go by, they're constantly adding the same features that the other had. That's also why you can like connect your Facebook and Instagram profiles to post simultaneously on both. As far as whether you need to be on both, I personally recommend, like I said, it's 2019 and the way that people find you is through the internet. So I feel like the more bases you have covered, the better. Does that help answer that question?
Yeah, that's helpful. I wish they would differentiate themselves more just because they are different platforms, but that makes sense.
No, I totally agree. I think that just because you're owned by the same company, you should be different, but I think that they're just either maybe losing their creativity or I don't know what it is. I guess we will have to see as it changes all the time. All right, y'all. If you enjoyed this webinar and want to see more from the Axia team, Miss Katie Boyle has an upcoming webinar on Tuesday, August 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And it'll pretty much just guide viewers through strategic PR insights. And you can register for this webinar under our resources tab on our website. You'll get full access to this recording under the same tab as Katie's webinar, but we'll also be sending it to you as I mentioned. Lastly, thank you so much for joining me, y'all. I hope you leave this webinar feeling confident that you know the do's and don'ts of social media. I'm offering up my email and my office line for any questions that might come while you're reviewing your recording later. if you feel like social media is something you may just never get, feel free to give me a call and let's start a conversation. We'd love to help heighten your social media if you give us the opportunity to do so. Thank you all so much and have a great rest of your day.